It was a stormy Friday night in October when Ethan got stranded at his grandfather's old house in Kentucky. He had driven out to check on the place after neighbors complained about lights turning on by themselves. The house had been empty for nearly 2 years, ever since Grandpa passed away. It was supposed to be a quick check. But as the rain came down hard, the dirt road back to the main highway flooded. Ethan was stuck. He lit the fireplace, made some coffee, and figured he'd spend the night. The house creaked and groaned in the wind, the kind of old wood sound you feel in your bones. And then, just after 10 p.m., knock, 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 3 knocks from the back door. Ethan froze. Who the hell would come here in this weather? He opened the door. Nothing. Just rain pounding the trees and wind whipping through the porch. He shrugged it off. Maybe a tree branch or just wind. But at exactly 11 p.m., another knock. Knock, knock, knock. This time from the front door. Again, no one there. But something felt wrong. Ethan shut all the blinds, locked every door, and sat by the fire with a baseball bat. He tried to laugh it off. Just an old house and a storm. That's all. Then, 12 o'clock. Another knock. Knock, knock, knock. The basement door. Inside the house. It was locked. It always had been. He hadn't even opened it yet. He stepped closer. He listened. And he heard it. Breathing. Wet. Heavy. Behind the door. He backed away, grabbed his keys and tried to open the door. But it wouldn't budge. And then came the whisper. A woman's voice. Right behind the door. It's wet down here. Ethan nearly dropped the flashlight. He ran back upstairs, heart pounding, trying to call for help. No signal. No Wi-Fi. No landline. It was just him. The rain. And whatever that was. At 1 a.m., he heard footsteps upstairs. Slow. Dragging. Wet. He crept up the stairs, step by step, holding his breath. But there was no one there. Only muddy footprints leading down the hallway. From the attic. Ethan grabbed a kitchen knife and climbed up to the attic hatch. He opened it slowly, the old wood groaning. He peeked in. Nothing. Just boxes, old furniture, and the smell of mildew. But as he turned to climb down, he saw it. A soaking wet handprint on the attic wall. Fresh. Dripping. And then came the 4th knock. 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 From the living room. Ethan ran down. No one was there. But the front door was wide open. Rain poured in. Mud tracked across the floor. Footprints bare, leading in. That's when he realized every knock was from a different door. Every hour. And it was almost 3 a.m. He bolted every window, shut off every light, and waited, baseball bat in hand, back to the wall, eyes on the clock. 2:59. The house was dead silent. 3 a.m. came, and the knocking didn't come from the doors this time. Came from the walls. From inside. Knock. 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 Ethan ran outside into the storm, screaming. He didn't care about the mud or the rain. He just ran until the sun rose. The next day, searchers found him shivering in a nearby barn. He wouldn't talk about what happened, but he kept repeating one thing. Don't answer the knock. Not at 3 a.m. Not when it's raining. It's not someone trying to come in. It's something trying to get out. This story was shared with me by someone who still refuses to go into their basement. It happened in a quiet town in Pennsylvania, where homes are old, winters are brutal, and some things are better left untouched. In early December, Mike, a 28-year-old welder, moved into an old house on the edge of town. The rent was cheap, the neighborhood quiet, and after a recent breakup, the isolation felt like a blessing. The only downside? The furnace. It was ancient, loud, and tucked deep into a small, cold basement that smelled like mold and rust. On the first night, Mike swore he heard something strange, breathing behind the furnace. Heavy, slow, raspy breathing. But when he went to check, nothing. 2 nights later, the sounds returned. This time it was scratching, like fingernails on metal. It would begin softly, then grow louder, more frantic. Mike told himself it was just rats. Or maybe the old pipes. You'll see him too. Eventually. Just don't look into his eyes. And whatever you do, don't go behind the furnace. Mike tried to ignore it, but the scratching got worse. He started waking up with dirt under his fingernails. He began locking the basement door at night, but somehow it wouldn't stay locked. One morning, he found wet, barefoot footprints leading from the basement door, all the way to his bedroom. He called the police. They searched the house, no signs of a break-in. No signs anyone had entered, but one officer paused by the basement door. "You ever notice that cold spot near the furnace?" he asked. That night, Mike set up a camera down there. He watched the feed live from his phone, nervously in bed. Nothing for hours, until 3:14 a.m. The screen began to glitch. Pale figure appeared. But one night around 2 a.m., the furnace suddenly shut off. Mike grabbed his flashlight and headed down into the basement. The steps creaked under his feet. The light flickered, and then he heard it again. Something moved behind the furnace. He called out. Nothing answered. As he turned to go back upstairs, his flashlight caught something carved into the cement wall. For deep scratches, as if someone or something was trying to claw its way out. The next morning, while shoveling snow, his elderly neighbor Harold waved him over. "You hear it yet?" Harold asked. "The man behind the furnace?" Mike just blinked. "Excuse me?" Harold's face went pale. He said the house once belonged to a recluse, someone no one saw during the winters. One year, the man just vanished. No body, no trace, just gone. Search parties found nothing. But after that winter, Harold said, every new tenant heard the noises and left. Then he leaned closer. Slender. Wrong. Its limbs were too long. It crawled out from behind the furnace like it had no bones. And its eyes, sunken and black, stared directly into the camera. Mike's heart stopped. Then the screen went black. He ran downstairs, flashlight in hand, barely able to breathe. But the basement was empty. The air was freezing, the furnace still. And then, a whisper right behind him. "You looked." Mike was found 2 days later by Harold, sitting on the basement floor, eyes wide open, shivering. He kept repeating the same thing over and over. He's in the walls, he watches, he waits. Mike never returned to the house, never spoke of it again. The place is empty now. But some nights, if you walk by the edge of town, you'll hear it, scratching, just behind the furnace. So if you ever move into a cheap, cold house with an old basement, and you hear something down there, don't look.